My friends, Master Boone Brown here, Ancient Ways Martial Arts Academy. It is August 17th, 2020, first day of school for Manatee County kids. And congratulations, kids. You are, I'm sure, excited to be going back to school. So some of you know that we were originally thinking about offering a digital learning camp here for those people that were nervous about sending their kids back to public school. We did a survey, we looked at all the numbers, and what we found was that 50% roughly of Manatee County kids are going back to school. We were offering the camp towards elementary school age kids, first through sixth grade. And what we found was that nearly 100% of those kids are going back to live school. The 50% of kids that aren't going back to school and are doing virtual schooling at home are the middle schoolers and high schoolers that don't need their parents to stay home with them to supervise, because Manatee County is a working town. Most parents are working and can't stay home to supervise their kids. So this is why the numbers are the way they are. This is why we pulled the digital learning camp. Another thing we're having fun with a digital learning camp, the state of Florida loves to tax us. They oh, it's not a tax, it's a licensing fee, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, so if we were gonna run a camp, they were gonna have inspections and stuff like that. So they've seen our ads, actually called and told us, we gotta fill out this paperwork. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing your work for you. You fill out the paperwork, it's good for you to do that. So I'm sure they're gonna show up to see if we're running the camp, and we're just gonna laugh and laugh and laugh. So anyway, state of Florida, so sorry, no more taxation, please. All right, so moving on. Now that the kids are going back to school, though, there's a bit of concern over the schools shutting back down. And Brendan's betting it's Thursday that the schools will start shutting back down again. It just, we shut down for spring break last year and never reopened because of COVID. Things are significantly worse now than they were then, and we're sending them back. And so I'm thinking it'll probably be next week. I can't imagine they would do it this week. I think they want to probably try to get through that, but this is going to get interesting. Now, being a big guy and having arterial flutter, I'm definitely one of those people who is at risk, and I'm a little concerned about it. And that's why we do so much here at Ancient Ways to protect you as well as me. And so we're going to come back and discuss the things that we do here at Ancient Ways to make sure people understand how safe they are here. So we'll revisit in a second. I just want to stay on my list here. First, our schedule. All right, our schedule changed a little bit when the pandemic started because we went to virtual classes, and we realized pretty quickly you can't do virtual classes with We Warriors. We tried. Even with great instructors and great parents at home, We Warriors are like, oh, look at chicken, and they're gone. It's just not a good age to do virtual training with it. So we took all of those off. We also found a lot of our specialty classes were really having a hard time with students who weren't doing them live, and so we moved some of those off as well. Now we're starting to put stuff back, and especially now that we're having 11, 12 We Warriors on the floor at a time. Yeah, we're going to put some things back in the schedule. As of September 1st, we should have a new schedule in place, and that schedule is going to have a lot of new things on it. We're looking at moving sword class back to Saturdays, so we're looking at putting our Guardians leadership class back in. I'm not sure where. So we're really excited to see those things come back, and everybody coming back to the studio too. So as we move forward, look for those cool schedule changes. We're about to hit a growth spurt. I feel pretty confident about that, although we haven't really slowed down that much. And with that growth spurt, we're definitely going to need to make sure we got room and classes for everybody. All right, coming up, we have some things coming up. First off, graduation is next week. Normally this semester is a couple of extra weeks long because people take vacations during the summer and they miss a bunch, but so few people actually did that this summer, and so many people were actively attending class that we decided, let's just stay on course. Let's go ahead and do graduation. So it's coming up next week. If you don't have your orange or blue tip yet, you can get those. If you need your red tip, we're starting giving those out this week for your form. Now, a couple of people come to me and said, Master Brown, I would like to have a private lesson so that I can make sure that I'm ready. Yep, Sophia, I got you scheduled for tomorrow, and we're happy to do that. Private lessons are $45 with me for 30 minutes, and with Miss Tanya. Normally we sell them in big blocks, and so you can use them however you want, but if you just want a 30-minute private lesson, you can pay us and we can do it. And guys, we say it's 30 minutes, we're gonna go longer than that. Normally it's about 45 minutes to an hour when I do a private lesson with somebody. It depends on how much work they need to do. You know me, I'm going to give you everything I got, and we're going to make sure that you're ready. So other stuff that's coming up here, so every year at the beginning of the school year, we have a back to school party, kind of a making friends party, where the kids invite their new friends from elementary school or middle school or whatever, and we have some pizza, we play some games, we do a little bit of martial arts. With social distancing being required, we're doing a social distancing one. Over our summer camp, we got really good at coming up with some really cool social distancing games, and they're a blast. And so we're going to do those, as well as do some martial arts training, so that your new friends can see what you do here and be impressed with you, and hopefully want to be your friends even more. All right, and so that's coming up on September 11th. Be a nice thing to do on that particular day. All right, and then also, guys, one of the best sports you can do ever when it comes to social distancing is sword fighting. I mean, think about it. You got to stay 6 feet away from the guy, and you're wearing masks. And so we have our sword tournament coming up next month. We haven't set a date for it yet, but we're going to go ahead and start to get everybody ready for it by doing some sword fighting in classes too. So look forward to that. If you're not a Guardian member, it's okay. We're going to introduce you to it. We already started doing it last week with my adult classes, and it's so much fun. Everybody's having a really good time. And it's a great workout too, so look forward to that. All right, so now let's currently talk about what's going on here at Ancient Ways as far as making sure everybody's safe. You come in the front door, you exit by the back door. I mean, for the most part. If there's nobody up front and you need to go by the front door, that's cool. But the idea is to not have a big crisscross of people in a smaller area. When you come in, we're going to take your temperature. We have a little head scan thing. It doesn't have to touch you. It's just got to get close. We also have a hand sanitizer, like 3 bottles of it up here. It's our homemade stuff. We made it ourselves, so it's got a little less fragrance in it, so it doesn't set off allergies and stuff, mine included. And it's definitely on the medicinal side. You'll hear me say to the kids all the time, here you go, do it up to your elbows. And guys, you should probably try to do it pretty high. Let's keep those hands clean. Once you come in, you put your shoes up, you step on the floor. See how we've got the floor sectioned off into 6-foot squares? That way everybody's practicing social distancing. When you're here, you wear a mask. When we are practicing social distancing, you can pull it down or you can pull it all the way down. Kids, it's up to your parents on whether or not this is okay with them or not. For us, we will oftentimes pull ours down if we are more than 6 feet away from someone, because as an instructor, we communicate so much with our facial expression. I want to make sure students see me and see what I'm saying and understand better. So a lot of times I will pull it down. But then I'll pull it right back up if we're ever with it, getting too close to anyone. Remember, the mask, wearing a mask doesn't protect me, it protects others from me if I happen to be asymptomatic. And so I'm going to do everything in my power to protect you. And so I'm going to wear mine as much as possible. My mask was custom made by a friend of my wife, and it's got a filter inside that I change out at least once a day, usually twice a day. And so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you guys are super safe. All of our equipment is cleaned between every class. Anything we use, we clean it. All equipment is cleaned, whether it's used or not, every week. And so this Saturday, I had Miss Taya, Mr. Brennan, and myself in here, and we cleaned the daylights out of this place. Every floor, everything. We have UV lighting in our air conditioners as well as HEPA filters. We treat the floor with a substance called Odoban, and we add grapefruit seed extract to that because GSE, that's what it's called, is the only thing that kills MRSA. And as a martial arts school, that's always a concern. And we treat the floor with that daily. Okay, so that's taken care of. Miss Chevis and Miss Tanya, every day are going through and cleaning this place multiple times a day. And so the studio is super, super clean, even the air you breathe. And so we feel confident, I feel confident that I am safe here. And being an at-risk person, obviously I've got to make sure I feel that way. And if I feel that way, I definitely feel that way about you too. Now, so make sure I cover everything, Tim Squares. All right, also, when you're training on the floor, there are times, like my adults, right away the adults are like, yeah, we're ready to train with each other. They're like super, super courageous, I guess. And so we said, okay, you can train with each other. We started off by putting family members together, and because we have a lot of siblings, a lot of husbands and wives who train together, and they're cool with it. But then others are like, I don't mind working with somebody. And some of them are wearing a mask and working with other people, and that's fine too. If we ask, are you okay to work with somebody else, don't hesitate to say no, because I have an alternative for that too. We call that ghosting. You have a ghost partner that you work with. And I actually think it's a really cool way to train, Because when you're doing a grab defense with a ghost partner, you can go fast and you can go hard without having to worry about hurting anybody. Whereas when you're working with a family member or a friend, there's always that risk. And so I think that you should do both, honestly, and that's something that we're going to add in for all future training, even after the pandemic is over, because I want people to build that speed and to have that lack of fear of hurting their partner as they go through. So if there are times when we have partners working together, they must wear a mask and they must be okay with it. And if we have a family member here, even who's not a student, like Parents West, parents come out and work with their kids on the floor. Parents, if you can do that, that's awesome. You watch your kid's face when you're coming out. They love it. They think it's fantastic. Mom's going to work with me. So that's really cool. And here's the other thing kind of goes along with that too. Occasionally a kid will say, Mom, I don't want you to watch. Parents, listen close. Yes, they do. They're lying. They're just saying that because they want to look cool. Their subconscious hopes that you're here going, honey, that's awesome. I'm proud of you. I love watching you. Wink, wink. You're doing great. The thing that they might be afraid of is if you're critical of them. Don't be critical of them. Why would you be critical of them? Well, they're not doing it as good as they can. Of course they're not. They don't have the strength to do it as good as they can yet. They haven't built the neural pathways from their brain to their muscles to do it as good as they can. They don't have the flexibility yet to do it as good as they can. Maybe they're just having a lazy day and they're not going to do it as good as they can. Guess what happens when you're critical of them? They want to quit and then they're never going to do it as good as they can. But if instead you go, I love watching you train in your martial arts. You're doing fantastic. Keep it up. They're going to love it that much more. And they're going to want to do it even better to keep you impressed with them and to continue to get that praise from you. And they end up black belts. Don't believe me. Okay. I've been doing this, since I was 18, I'm 56 years old. Been doing this a really, really long time. Look at my black belts. Okay. Or talk to any of them and they'll tell you, yeah, it was terrible. And look at them now. They're all amazing. And they're amazing because of that. And this isn't some piddly little 2-year black belt school. Guys, it's 4+ years to get a black belt at this school. This is not one of those schools. These are legit black belts and you can tell. And so talk to them and they'll tell you. All right, so moving on. We're doing front door. All right. Guys, like I was saying, we wear masks. We make sure that you wear masks. If you don't have one or yours breaks or whatever, we have them for sale for $1. I don't think you can get them anywhere that cheap. We have them for $1 up front if you need them. I think there's like 50 of them up there. So also we have, we're still doing virtual classes. Why that's good. Michael Newedowski is high-risk individual. He does virtual training. Okay, we've got the Lucases that are on vacation in Colorado for the remainder of this month. They are doing virtual classes. We've got Sophia Hackman, whose mom is a high risk, and so they do virtual training. Well, we've got Anthony, whose mom had COVID, and so they're doing virtual training. Here's where it becomes a problem. Guys, if you want your kid to get a black belt and you're investing the time and energy and money to get them here to get their black belt, then you want to guarantee that they're going to get their black belt, do class with them. Now, if not ready to jump into class with them, okay, that's fine. Then at least stay and watch them and give them that thumbs up. Tell them you're proud of them. It shows them this is important. You're important. Okay. Now, if you want a really, really good guarantee that they're not going to make black belt, drop them off. Go do something else. Then you're saying this is not important and you're not important. And I'm not kidding, guys. I've been doing this long enough where I've seen it. Okay. Now, you can actually get worse than that. You can say, even though everybody's well, you're well, we're not afraid of COVID, we're not going to take you to class, go do the virtual one. All right. They're not going to make it. And you've spent money and time and energy getting them this far. Keep going. Let's get that black belt, guys. Get them here. If you've got a reason to not be doing virtual or to do virtual classes, then please, by all means, do the virtual classes. We are going to continue to offer them. Okay, but you need to try to get your kids back here. If they say they would rather do virtual classes, I doubt it. Guys, interacting with us, interacting with their friends is definitely a better chance for them to make it to their black belt, especially for kids. For adults, I can see it, but most of my adults are like, no, I want to go back. And they're ready. They're trying to get well so they can get back. All right, so try to get them back in here as best you can. How long are we going to offer virtual classes? My mentors are telling me we need to have an exit strategy on it. And I didn't believe them. And then I started noticing that a lot of people weren't bringing their kids back just because they didn't want to bring them. and not because anybody's sick. And then now I'm going, yeah, we probably do. But I also think that we will indefinitely offer them, but just not at the intense schedule that we currently have. I don't know when it's going to change, probably sometime September or October, but at that point we'll probably go, hey, we're offering virtual classes at these 4 times during the week. It's just so that we can make sure that people who have to have it can continue to get it, or if you're on vacation, you can still jump in and get it. But I definitely want to get to a point where everybody's back here in training. With all the safety measures we've got in place, I hope you feel confident to come back here and train live. All right, so moving on from that, I went through all of the things that we're doing here to keep everything clean. All right, and so now let's talk about this week in class. All right, so it is graduation week next week for beginners, intermediates, and advanced. A little early this semester. It's 12 weeks. Normally we do 12 weeks, but normally this semester we run a little long because people go on vacations, stuff like that before school starts. This year we didn't see a lot of that, and everybody was pretty much back, and so we decided to go ahead and do it. And so we are. Now, as far as other stuff that's going on this week, we will be testing for your red tip this week. If you don't have your orange or blue, that's okay. We're going to test you for those as well. Just make sure that we're aware that you need to test for that, and we'll help you to get that. And let's try to think of what else. Oh, classes this week. I've got some really fun classes. I know one of everybody's favorite end of class activities that we do is the bag races. We set up the bag, everybody comes up, they kick it, their bags are racing to get back in place. So we're doing that this week, as well as making sure that everybody's getting prepared for their electives, whether it be board break or whether it be takedowns or whether it's ground fighting or your agility. We're going to spend some time on those too. So look forward to some really fun classes. It's going to be a great week. I can't wait to get started. I miss the summer camp kids already, but I don't miss running a summer camp because nobody had to get up at 6 a.m. to get here in time this morning. And we actually have staff training today and Wednesday at 2 o'clock, which we couldn't do all summer, and now we can. And so we're looking forward to getting back in the swing of doing those things too. And guys, I don't know, those of you that have been at other martial arts schools, you definitely probably see a difference in how our staff works, how our instructors work. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that at 2 o'clock a couple of days a week, we're doing staff training. Whereas a lot of those other schools, they're busy out picking up kids for their after school program. And since we don't have an after school program, you get the better instructors, you get the better staff, and student services manager, she's amazing. And you get, I hope, a cleaner studio too. So I know that I can't imagine it being any cleaner as the extent that we go through to get it that way. Maybe other schools do the same amount, I don't know. But anyway, guys, hope you feel safe here. Looking forward to seeing you in class this week. Make sure that you get here. If you have any questions or concerns or anything you want to ask me, guys, reply to any of the emails that you get. They come straight to me. Reply to any of the texts that you get. They go to me and my team. And you can also just call and ask any questions. Let us know any concerns you've got. Always happy to talk to you. And looking forward to seeing you on the floor.